Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. In a world filled with endless opportunities, why would two men who have built 13 multi-million-dollar businesses altruistically invest 5 hours per day to teach you the best practice business systems and moves that you can use? Because they believe in you, and they have a lot of time on their hands. They started from the bottom. Now they're here. It's the Thrive Time Show, starring the former U.S. Small Business Administration's Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark, and the entrepreneur trapped inside an optometrist's body, Dr. Robert Zillner. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses.
Get ready to enter the Thrive Time Show.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here.
We started from the bottom, now we're on the top. Teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of 5, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the C&Z up on your radio. And now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the
All right, Devin, I got to ask you a pop quiz here. How long have you worked here?
About 9 months.
About 9 months?
Mhm.
Your dad's been here.
Yes.
How would you describe what it's like to work in this environment here?
It's very energetic, and there's a big follow-up culture, getting stuff done, hitting deadlines. It's fun. It's a fun environment. That's pretty much it.
How, if you had to describe to your dad or family or friends what we do as far as with the business coaching program, how would you describe what we do?
Yeah. Whenever I describe it, I say I work for you and you're an entrepreneur and you help grow businesses, and I help you do that as well.
So, I want to walk people through kind of how this whole process works. And then I'm going to share with the listeners a bunch of success stories in a row, because I think this is just something I think that I've heard a lot, and maybe you haven't heard this. I've been self-employed since I was, basically 15 years old. So I kind of view the world maybe very differently than most. But I hear a lot of people think that they'll say to me, I want to be successful, but I'm too old. I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
Or they'll say I'm too young.
Yeah.
Or they'll go, the time's not right. I'm getting married soon. I'm getting divorced. There's always something.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found is that people, once we embrace the idea, one is the time will never be just right. We must act now. The time will never be just right.
Right. We
We must act now. And once we get that idea that the time will never be just right and we must act now, and that we can actually do it. Step 2 is we can actually do it. I think that changes things. And I think a lot of people, they go to thrivetimeshow.com and they schedule a one-on-one consultation with me after watching the testimonials.
Mm-hmm.
How powerful is it for you when you are attending a workshop or working one and seeing people like Randy Antrican with PMH OKC growing his company from $50,000 a month of sales to $1.3 million a month? How powerful is it for you as an employee here to meet these people that have actually grown their companies?
It's powerful because they're real people just like you and me, and they were thinking the same thing that everyone else is. Like, am I too old? Maybe I'll start next year, and they just did it. That's why it's powerful, because they're real people and they thought the same thing as everyone else.
And when people schedule that one-on-one consultation, you and the team, you call folks,
Right.
So some people know me from the Reawaken America tour right now, but I've been doing business consulting since 2005. And so if you go to the testimonials button, you're going to see literally 2,000 plus testimonials.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people fill out the form to schedule a consultation, and they have probably some similar questions they ask because you talk to a lot of the folks. What are the most commonly asked questions that people ask you as it relates to our business consulting program?
Yeah, they ask, all of them are, they think they don't understand like your 13 point, and that it's the same path, the same foundation for every single business. They think each one of them thinks, well, my business is different. Do you think it'll work for me? That's every
That's common.
Yeah, it's very common.
And what I have found is if people, I'm just going to fire some businesses off alphabetically that I've built here. So we'll go with djconnection.com. And that business was America's largest wedding entertainment company. And then you go alphabetically speaking, I built one of the region's largest wedding photography company called epicphotos.com. Both businesses I no longer own. I like to build companies, grow them to a certain point, and if I feel like there's an exit strategy that's valid, I'll do it. But again, you go to djconnection.com, you go to epicphotos.com. The domain no longer exists, but Fears and Clark, it was a real estate company we built. I'm thinking alphabetically. There's Party Perfect, which is now called Party Pro. Again, I sold this company, so I don't own it anymore. I started Party Perfect and then sold that to Party Pro, rents.com. We have, I'm involved with Elephant in the Room. I guess E is before P. So Elephant in the Room, it's a men's grooming lounge. We have a tiptopcanine.com. Ryan Wimpy's the founder of that company. I've helped him scale that from 1 location to 18 locations. And I could go on just listing off examples of businesses that I've partnered with or teamed up with to scale. And the vast majority of the businesses that we work with, the workflows are very, very similar.
Right.
And so that's why we have a workshop where people can come to these events and learn specifically how to start and grow a successful company. For you working here, when you have a workflow that you can see, how helpful is that for you to see the workflow? Does that help?
Yes, it does help because I'm a very visual person, and it helps me help the client because I know, well, step 1, I need to get Google reviews, and step 2, we need to write original content. Step 3, what is your niche? What makes you stick out other than competition? You need to improve your branding, and then the 3-legged marketing. So everything is step 1, step 2, step 3, and then each step helps the next step.
So if you're listening right now and you go to thrivetimeshow.com/millionaire, that's thrivetimeshow.com/millionaire, you can download my newest book here called A Millionaire's Guide, How to Become Sustainably Rich. You can download that book for free. But if you go to page 5 of this book, this is what's called a workflow. And the first box I always want to figure out when I work with a new client is I want to figure out the first step of the workflow is, what are your revenue goals? And is it shocking to you that most, and I mean this in a loving, encouraging way. Is it shocking to you that most people that I talk to don't have revenue goals?
It was shocking at first, but now it's pretty common.
You played softball.
Yes.
And the goal was to beat the other team, I would assume.
Yes.
What position did you play?
Shortstop, pitcher.
Okay.
Second base.
And so your goal is to get on base. A good batting average would be like 350, 300 or more.
Yeah.
Ish. You kind of, and a lot of people just don't know those numbers. So it's almost like you're playing a game without keeping score. And at the end of every game, you don't know who won or lost. The second step is you have to figure out your break-even numbers. Was that shocking to you when you started working with clients, knowing that, most business owners, great people who even have accountants and bookkeepers, they don't know how many services or products they need to render to break even?
It was at first. It was shocking, but it's now that the more clients I take on, the more I realize that it's common. And
did you study business in college?
I did a little bit, but it wasn't my main focus.
Okay. And I'm amazed because a lot of business college graduates will come to me with a business that's broken and we can fix it quickly. Because I don't know why they don't cover these things in college. Box 3 is the number of hours someone's willing to work. You know this because you're up here all the time, but I work 6 days a week. I try to sneak in on Sunday right before church and then I'm done for the day. But I like to, get up at 3, work till about 6 o'clock every day. I like to go 3 to 6. That's my normal, but that doesn't have to be the normal for our clients. Right. What are your thoughts on that and the importance of knowing how many hours per week you're willing to work?
We all need to know that, because if you came in on Sunday and worked all day and that's not what you wanted to do, then you wouldn't be happy or content. The client needs to know, and we need to know, because I need to know how much homework to assign, how hard to push them.
Yeah.
They need to know that, because if they don't enjoy it, then it's just not going to be a good fit.
In box 4, you have to discover your unique value proposition. Box 5, that's how you stand out in the marketplace. What do you offer that's different from your competition? Box 5, we got to make sure your branding is great. Your website, your one sheet, your business card, your branded social media. Box 6, we need to make sure we launch an effective marketing campaign. Box 7, we got to build a sales conversion system, scripts, recorded calls, one sheets, pre-written emails, lead trackers. Box number 7, we have to determine the sustainable customer acquisition costs. What does it cost you to get a new customer? How much money does it cost you to get a new customer? Box 9, we have to build repeatable systems and processes. I work with a lot of restaurants and doctors and dentists, and they need to have processes and systems so that the quality can be consistent. Now, I want to ask you this question here. what would happen for our clients, do you think, if we didn't offer the photography, videography, web development, search engine development, online ad management, tracking, helping them with their books, sales scripting? What if we just taught them the theory of it, but didn't actually help them execute it? What would happen?
Right. They wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. They wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we do, is we want to help you go down that proven path.
Right.
So again, if you go right now, folks, to thrivetimeshow.com and you want to schedule a one-on-one consultation with me, you can do that. Devin, why do you think that I don't take on any more clients than the number of clients I have? I like to keep our company at 160 clients. Why don't I personally take on any more clients than what I already have?
Well, because I know you like to know each and every one of your clients, and it's because that's what you want. 160 one-on-one clients. That's what you want. So.
Right. Now, if again, I think people need to grasp this idea. I'm not trying to land 1,000 business coaching clients so I can check some box and win some award for the largest business coaching program in the world. I charge $1,700 a month per client. It's month to month, because those are goals I had as a young man. I wanted to build my business to a certain size. I did it, sold that company. And people kept asking me for help. And I thought, I'll go ahead and help you with your business. Then someone else reached out, and I thought, I'll help you with your business. Pretty soon there's 160 clients, and I'm going, wait a minute, this is too much. So now we have a conference every 2 months. And how would you describe the energy of our in-person business conferences?
It's live. Like, it's very lively, energetic. People are excited. They're learning all this information, hearing from actual clients. It's very an energetic environment. It's great. And
why do you suppose that the workshops are 2 days and we allow people to ask questions during every session? We do like a 30-minute teaching sprint and then a 15-minute question and answer session. Why do we do that every session, do you think?
Because we go through the workflow, and within each box, there's question after question, and you don't like to leave in the conference unless all the questions are answered. And each conference is different because different perspectives, new people show up, they have different kinds of questions, and that itself is just another rabbit hole to go down. So that's why it's 2 days. And
Inc. magazine says that 96% of businesses fail by default.
Yeah.
And yet our average client grows by 104%. We're going to show people a bunch of testimonials in just a second. Why do you think that our clients grow by 104% on average, where the average business fails? Or at least 96% of businesses fail when our average client grows by 104%. Why do you think that is?
I think it's because what we do, we meet with our clients once a week. We have a lot of accountability. The homework that we do, and it's your foundation that you have us set for each client. It's not complicated. I think that's why.
It's not complicated. We've made it scalable.
Yeah.
I was just talking to a client today. I won't mention the state they're in, but the client identified himself to me on my first call. He says, "Hey, I've never gotten more than C's in school. I don't really do well with computers, and I'm not really techie." And we were just talking today. His net income per month that he keeps, profit after all expenses, every month is over $200,000 a month.
Wow.
And he used to make $200,000 every 4 years.
Wow.
And he knew this because he made $50,000 a year. So I know we can help you guys. If you're out there today, I don't care what background you have. If you're a doctor, dentist, lawyer, we've helped somebody in your industry, come out to one of our events. You can get those tickets at thrivetimeshow.com. And final question I have for you, Devin, is why do I let people name their price? We tell people, we'd love it if you paid $250 for a ticket, but if you're in a tight spot, you can name your price. Why do you think that we do that?
Well, one is because we don't want anyone who wants to, say if you have a passion or you want to start a business and you want to go, you should be able to. And two, you always say you grew up poor, you know what it's like to not be able to, want to do something and the funds are in the way. So that's why we have people name their price.
Well, I tell you what, folks, if you're out there today and you're on the fence about attending an event, we have, I think, four spots left for our next conference, which is going to be next week. So next Thursday and Friday, whenever you're watching this, we have them every 2 months. So if you're looking to get a ticket, go to thrivetimeshow.com. If you want to schedule a one-on-one consultation, you can do that at thrivetimeshow.com. And I know that a lot of people know me from the political space, but believe it or not, previous to the current jackassery of the political world we live in, I have been growing companies since 2005. That's what I continue to do. That's really my passion as far as my professional skill sets. And now I'm using those on this patriotic portion of my life here. But I encourage everybody, if you want to learn how to start or grow a successful organization, schedule that consultation today at thrivetimeshow.com, or book your tickets or request those tickets for an in-person workshop at thrivetimeshow.com. Devin, I appreciate you. And we'll be on part 2 of today's show, sharing some client testimonials.
Light that spark, Fire Nation. JLD here, and welcome to Entrepreneurs on Fire, brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network with great shows like Business Made Simple. Today, we'll be breaking down the proven processes and systems that you need to implement to build a time and financial freedom creating business. To drop these value bombs, I brought Clay Clark and Ryan Wimpy into EO Fire Studios. Clay is former US SBA Oklahoma Entrepreneur of the Year, founder of several multi-million-dollar businesses, and Amazon best-selling author. And today, Fire Nation, we will be talking about quality leads, getting turnkey marketing systems that will get you those leads. We'll talk about the irresistible offer and scale and grow exponentially once you've nailed that, and then hitting the repeat button, and so much more. Ryan, say what's up to Fire Nation and share something that you believe about becoming successful that most people disagree with.
What is up, Fire Nation? I'm Ryan Wimpy with Tip Top K9. One thing about being successful, it has absolutely nothing to do with your passion. You may have to put that on hold to create scalable, repeatable systems in order to succeed. Do not focus on the passion.
Well, Fire Nation, you need to be excited about today because, as I mentioned in the introduction, we're talking about proven processes, proven systems that will help you build time and financial freedom, creating your business. And it's not just Ryan on the mic, but we have Clay Clark on the mic. And this is actually the first time I've had a guest in my 3,700 episodes crack double digits, because this is Clay's 10th appearance on Entrepreneurs on Fire. So Clay, let's start with you, brother. Fire Nation wants to know where we get quality leads. How can we create turnkey marketing systems that produce quality leads? Brother, take it away.
Well, when I met Ryan Wimpy here of Tip Top K9, this was a guy who was passionate about dog training, and he really knew how to sell well if he got quality leads. And so if you're listening out there right now and you have a great product or a great service and you just need more quality leads, what we have to do, and I do this with every single client we work with, we have to identify what we call a three-legged marketing stool. What is the most effective way? Not the only way, but what is the most effective way? Not what are all the ways, but what are the three most effective ways to generate leads for your business? And so for Ryan, we identified that search engine optimization was absolutely very important. The second area we discovered is that social media marketing was very important. And the third area that we discovered was this thing called the Dream 100, which Chet Holmes, the best-selling author of a great book called The Ultimate Sales Machine, Chet Holmes, a great author, the late great business consultant, called the Dream 100, where Brian needed to get all of the veterinarians, all of the dog groomers in his local areas to refer him. And since we implemented the search engine optimization, domination, the social media marketing, and the Dream 100 system, Tip Top has now grown from one location that was, I would say, maybe doing well to now 17 thriving locations all across America. And I would predict by the end of 2022, we'll probably end the year at 21 to 22 territories.
Wow. I mean, that is intense stuff. Ryan, like when you were going through this, were you like, oh my God, this just totally makes sense. I've been like going a million miles an hour in a million different directions and not getting quality leads. I'm not putting words in your mouth. I'm just asking you, was this happening? And how did what Clay really structured for you change things?
Yeah. So as far as the search engine, definitely helped. We had good map reviews, but we weren't doing those other three. I wasn't implementing a Dream 100. We weren't going out and seeing people. And so if I was getting in front of people, I had a sales coach before. Clay's a business coach, and that's why I found him. But I had a sales coach, so sales are doing good, but I only had so many of them, right? So it doesn't matter how good you are if you're not getting enough leads, right?
And one thing I want to also double down on, Fire Nation, that book that Clay talked about, The Ultimate Sales Machine, fantastic. You must read it. In fact, I'm good friends with Chet's daughter, Amanda Holmes, and she just released the updated version of that book with, of course, all of Chet's genius in there with updated to, the 2022 version. So that book just came out. So definitely worth a read in all the different areas. And Clay, I want to talk about irresistible offers. We need to develop an irresistible offer for our first time customers. Why and how do we do this?
Okay, well, first off, if anybody listens right now and you go to thrivetimeshow.com/EOFire, that's one irresistible offer, thrivetimeshow.com/EOFire, or you can go to tiptopcanine.com. I'm just giving you two examples. And let me throw in a third example. Why don't you go to shawhomes.com, shawhomes.com. So Shaw Homes is a home builder that I've helped to grow from, check this out, from $16 million a year of sales to $170 million in sales. So from 16 million to 170, 10 times, more than 10 times, almost 11 times growth. And we've done that in less than 4 years. Tip Top Canine has gone from one location to 17. And then if you go to thrivetimeshow.com/EOFire, you can see that I do these free consultations. And people say, why do you do a free consultation? Well, frankly, it's for my mental health because JLD, you have great listeners who listen to your show and they reach out all the time to want to attend a workshop or they want to schedule one-on-one consulting and they want to see if we're a good fit. And your listeners are wonderful because they're what I call diligent doers. They're people that actually want to pursue their goals and turn their dreams into reality. However, people that don't listen to your show, some people, at 3 a.m. after 3 adult beverages, they fill out the form just to see what happens. Not your listeners, but other people do that. And so what you want to do is you want to make an offer so hot that the super intoxicated guy at 3 a.m. fills out the form and your ideal and likely buyer. So at Tip Top Canine, the first dog training lesson is only $1. Now, their average ticket, Ryan, how much is the average ticket if someone decides to hire you?
Right now, it's about $2,200 to $2,800.
So the average customer is spending $2,200 to $2,800 to pay Tip Top Canine to train their dog. But before they decide to commit $2,200 to dog training, they want to see if it's a good fit. So the first lesson is $1. For Shaw Homes, your first consultation is free. Your 3D mock-up of your new home is free. They have all sorts of a free tour, a free interactive experience. That's free. Or in the case of thrivetimeshow.com/EOFire, my first consultation is free. So what you're wanting to do, if you're listening right now, you want to think about what's something that you could offer that's so hot, so irresistible, so amazing that you want to try it out. You'd actually be able to modify someone's behavior. Let me give you one more example. I was recently in San Diego, where you're from, JLD. I was in San Diego, and I was not wanting to have a delicious piece of Asian cuisine. I was not thinking to myself, you know what? I want Asian cuisine right now. But I happened to be walking in this mall area and the guy comes out and says, would you like a free sample? And I'm thinking, well, okay. And I tried the sample and it was phenomenal. And then it occurred to me, I think I'm hungry. And I ordered a meal. But that free sample, it was a generous sample now. It was an ample sample that my human mind could handle. It was so good, though, and I'm not kidding. I wasn't thinking about having Asian cuisine, but it was so good it altered my behavior, and it was like a tractor beam from Star Wars, and I couldn't pull out of it. And I'm like, oh, no. Next thing you know, I'm ordering the meal. It was phenomenal. So everybody out there, if you go to your website, think about your business right now, folks. Think about it. What is an offer that you could offer that's so hot, so irresistible that people can simply not resist it?
An ample sample. That is definitely going to become part of my vocabulary. I love it for all the reasons. And once we've figured out getting quality leads, once we've figured out our irresistible offer, how do we scale, Clay? How do we grow exponentially?
Well, the thing with Ryan's business that was challenging is he's sort of a dog genius. He knows how to train a dog and the proper way to train a dog and matriculate and coach up the dog so the dog is well behaved. And then the owner goes, wow, my dog used to eat everything. My dog used to eat my beautiful wife's wedding dress. My dog's eating my shoes. My dog won't stop urinating in the house. My dog's crazy. And then they get the dog back and it's a well-behaved dog. So the question is, how do you build a system so that other people who are not you can learn how to train a dog with the level of quality that Ryan can do? So it became sitting down with Ryan, and I'll let Ryan explain in more detail. And this was the part of the process that I don't think he was passionate about, and that I wasn't passionate about it. But in order to achieve financial freedom and time freedom, we had to turn everything into a checklist. everything into a process. And so we had to grind through the process of building a checklist and a process for everything. And now when somebody buys a Tip Top Canine franchise, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, but I think almost everybody who owns a Tip Top Canine franchise now previously was not a dog trainer.
Oh, every single one of them was not.
So we got like a former mortgage banker
Yeah.
who bought a Tip Top Canine franchise, and now he's making more money training dogs than he ever made in the mortgage industry. And that's because the systems are so tight. So Ryan, maybe you could explain what that process was like, because I know it was arduous, it was tedious, but now it's created financial abundance.
Yeah. So like I said, it wasn't my passion. My passion was training dogs, but we took basically a 2-page outline into a 60-page process manual, and then checklists for our boot camps, process and structure and outlines for our private lessons, for our take-home training, the sales script, our call center scripts, literally everything, painstakingly sitting down and just line item by line item, creating those scripts for the call center. And the sales was probably the biggest thing, because it took me, or even training my trainers, it used to take me 6 months to do what we do in 6 to 8 weeks now.
So now what's happening here, and this is so powerful, JLD, is there's a book called The Checklist Manifesto that I encourage everyone to read. The Checklist Manifesto is written by Atul Gawande. And what he talks about in that book, and this is wild, okay? He talks about medical professionals that were able to dramatically decrease the amount of deaths in hospitals as a result of following a checklist. He talks about architects. They were able to decrease structural problems as a result of using checklists. He talks about aviation experts, pilots, that were able to decrease the amount of errors they had by following checklists. And he talks about in his book that most people don't like following a checklist. And he writes here, and I'm quoting, he says, "The volume and complexity of what we know has now exceeded our individual ability to deliver its benefits correctly, safely, or reliable without a checklist." He says, "We don't like checklists. They can be painstaking. They're not too much fun. But I don't think the issue here is mere laziness. There's something deeper, more visceral going on when people walk away, not only from saving lives, but from making money. It somehow feels beneath us to use a checklist, an embarrassment. It runs counter to our deeply held beliefs about how the truly great among us, those who we aspire to be like, handle situations of high stakes and complexity. The truly great are supposed to be daring. They improvise. They do not have protocols or checklists." He says, maybe our idea of heroicism needs updating. I just encourage everybody out there, if your business feels stuck, you want to sit down right now, make a list of all the things that you have to do on a daily basis that are, I call it crap, but core, repeatable, actionable processes. It's crap. Core, repeatable, actionable processes. Anything that you do that it's tedious, repetitive tasks, and find a way to make a checklist or a system out of it so that you can teach a new employee, a new hire, or in Ryan's case, a new franchisee, how to do it quickly. And in my office, every position we have, JLD, in my offices, we can teach somebody how to do that job in 15 hours or less. And that's my goal. And then the Tip Top Canine franchise, when people go to tiptopcanine.com to learn about buying a Tip Top Canine, from the time that somebody shows up as a mortgage banker with no knowledge of training dogs to the time they leave as an expert dog trainer, I believe, Ryan, it's 6 weeks now?
6 weeks.
6 weeks. So that's what you want to do, is you want to build a system. It's kind of like reverse college. College, no matter what you want to learn, it takes 4 years. In the world of entrepreneurship, you want it to take no longer than 4 hours if you can.
I will say this. I must kind of be a weird person because I love checklists. I love checklists.
Amen.
Listen,
Yes!
I've always loved checklists, and I think there's a reason for it. While you were talking, Clay, I was like, why do I love checklists? I love checklists because I hate having to do something a second time or a third time. I hate doing something wrong and being like, I've got to start back over again. I literally hate that feeling. And so, man, give me a checklist, because I will go through step by step by step, and I will be happy the whole time knowing that I'm doing it right the first time. That is so important to me for some reason. And Fire Nation, I hope it becomes important to you, and I hope you stick around, because we're dropping value bombs when we get back from thanking our sponsors. We all know how important engagement with our audience is. As creators, finding effective ways to provide value while also being able to interact in real time is a challenge. But now there's Speak Easy. Speak Easy is an app that allows you to organize your own live talk show. It's made by creators for creators and is uniquely built to help you monetize your audience. Whether you use it for live podcasting, show recordings, or hosting premium content people can subscribe to, Speak Easy has you covered. Want to stream private shows for select attendees? You can do that too. All you have to do is download the app, go live, and you'll be connecting with an interactive audience immediately. I'm loving creating daily content on Speakeasy, and I know you're going to love it too. So what are you waiting for? Visit getspeakeasy.com to download the app. Check me out at John Lee Dumas, and let's start rocking Speakeasy together. That's getspeakeasy.com. I look forward to interacting with you, Fire Nation. Feeling connected to your team is a must, but with employees and contractors all over the globe, feeling that connection can be tough. Not to mention the software you use can sometimes make you feel out of sync, like you and the rest of your team aren't on the same page. And when a team is disconnected, your customers pay the price. If the software you're currently using is sharing out-of-date data on your business or your customers, that equals trouble. Or maybe you feel like your software is making it impossible to see the full picture. If that's the case, then listen up. Customers end up bearing the brunt of this disconnection, meaning a great customer experience is lost, sometimes forever. Ready to get your team on the same page? HubSpot transforms everyday conversations, strategic decision-making sessions, and everything in between into moments customers feel good about. With a lovingly crafted suite of tools, you can seamlessly connect your team so everyone has access to the same data and you're able to focus on what really matters, your customers. Learn how HubSpot can help your business grow better at HubSpot.com. Clay, Ryan, we're back, and I want to talk about hitting the repeat button. This is something that, Clay, you do so well with yourself and with your clients. How can we systemize repeatable success?
Well, what you do, and I'll just give you an example. I want to brag on Ryan's wife for a second. You know, when I first told Ryan and Rachel when they were new clients, I remember it was, and in this meeting, JLD, it always goes over really badly or really great. And it's going to be, it's like we go one way or the other in this meeting. And I tell the clients, I say, now listen, now that we have more leads, now that we have the branding improved, the branding looks great, the website looks great, leads are coming, and now we need to install call recording. Now, this show's recorded, right? So anybody can listen to the show and they can say, that guest was terrible, or that guest was awesome. But anyway, the audio of this show lives on for a long time. All right. So everybody hears how this show goes. It's one take. We're not editing it. You just hear it as boom. It's live. Boom. So when you're doing calls, though, sales calls, you say, thank you for calling Tip Top Canine. This is Clay. How can I help you? The way that someone answers the phone is a big factor as to whether that customer becomes a customer or not, whether that lead converts into a customer or not. If the person answering the phone sounds sarcastic, unengaged, disengaged, unfocused, if they sound confused, if they sound unaware, uninformed, uneducated, the ideal and likely buyer that you worked so hard to woo and to wow, that lead that you tried to generate becomes a dormant lead, a dead lead, and the lead dies on the vine. So what we had to do is install call recording. I recommend a company called clarityvoice.com, but you can use whoever you want to use. So we put the call recording in place. Then we have to follow this. We have to write a script. So the team has to follow a script, and the calls have to be recorded. And Ryan's wife, Rachel, she not only insisted that the calls were recorded, and she insisted that the team follow the script, but she did it with a spirit of excellence and joy. And now he has an incredible call center. So anybody who owns a Tip Top Canine franchise, they no longer have to answer their own phones at all. And Ryan, maybe you could talk about that process, because most business owners, when you tell them that their team needs to follow a script and that the calls need to be recorded for quality assurance, most business owners say, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, so it was still every Sunday, our office manager listens to recorded phone calls, and then they play them on Monday, right? Boom. So as a team, they're going over all the calls to make sure everyone's following the script, and it handles about 98% of all the issues. And then what we did with Clay is we're on like version 17, is to start with every week we come in and be like, hey, this is what broke. Hey, this is what broke. And then after listening to the calls, you could see where they couldn't make it, and then we just kept tweaking that.
17 iterations. So we're on version 17 of the script. And then once we finally set it, we've been able to stick with that consistently. Yeah. But early on, we were doing a lot of changes. And now, JLD, the one thing we're working on with Tip Top, which is exciting, is for a variety of reasons, a lot of people are wanting to leave a corporate America. I think a lot of times it's because people listen to great shows like yours, and they start to say, you know what, I want to own my own business. For one reason or another, they're tired of the corporate, compliance and they feel like they're done working for the big box store. They want to go own their own thing. And so now, Ryan, today, I would say about every week, it seems like you're meeting with somebody who wants to open a Tip Top Canine and trying to figure out if they're a good fit or not. And really, we're scaling the business to a level where financial freedom is now 100%. Ryan and his wife, they now have financial freedom. They now have the time freedom to go back to where we started to now you can focus on your passion. And I believe, Ryan, you just recently purchased some chickens. Am I correct?
Yeah, I did. I bought some chickens.
So now he's pursuing his passion, which is chicken buying.
Do you like fresh eggs? Is that anything to do with it?
Love the fresh eggs.
Okay, got it. Okay,
Love
that's good.
Oh, we eat like 4 or 5 eggs a day.
So, Clay, you teach entrepreneurs how to create branding that enhances, not diminishes. We're talking enhances perceived value. Tell us more.
Yeah, so we're going to go right now, and everyone to go to shawhomes.com. We're going to go to shawhomes.com. We're going to go to tiptopcanine.com, and we're going to go to oxyfresh.com. These are 3 brands that I work with intimately, so I'm trying to give you some examples here. If you go to oxyfresh.com, oxifresh.com, we just now passed 475 locations. Can I get an amen? Folks, this business went from 1 location to 475 locations. And whether you like the website or not, that's up to you. You go to the website, oxyfresh.com, and if you look at it and go, that is terrible. Well, you know what? You're correct because you're the consumer. And so you as a consumer are going to decide whether to buy or not buy from a business almost instantly. It's the first impression, all right? Then you go to tiptopcanine.com, and you're going to decide whether you're interested or not interested based on that first impression. Another example would be shawhomes.com, the home builder I was telling you about. So what we have to do with branding is we have to understand that branding is simply a perception. So the way I describe branding is a good friend of mine named Michael Levine. He used to be the PR consultant for Nike, for Pizza Hut, for Michael Jordan. Check this out, folks. For George Bush and Bill Clinton. So if you don't like George Bush, you don't like Bill Clinton. Either way, he did both. He worked with both sides. And one of the things he told me is he said, Clay, branding is nothing other than gift wrapping. So he said, if you were to give a woman a ring and you gave her the ring and you gave it to her and it was packaged in a Kmart box, no offense to any Kmart employees out there, but if you got on one knee and you said, will you marry me? And you pulled out the Kmart box, a lot of women would go, did you buy my ring at Kmart? Are you kidding me? You know, they would reject the packaging. Now, if you got on the knee, on the one knee, and you got out and you pulled out a ring and you presented it in a Tiffany box, they would go, oh, wow, this is awesome. And there would be an immediate reaction. So what's wild, though, is if you were a very deceitful person, and none of your listeners are, but you had a really, really cheap ring that you bought and you put it in a Tiffany box, most people would perceive the cheap ring in the Tiffany box as having higher value than the ring, even a high quality ring, put it in a Kmart box. So what happens is we have to understand is we gift wrap everything as a culture. We gift wrap websites, we gift wrap politicians, we gift wrap musicians and celebrities, and people do judge you based upon the appearance of that first appearance they see. So when we went to tiptopcanine.com, and you'll have to correct me because my memory gets worse over time, but on tiptopcanine.com, I believe we went and we enhanced the website almost immediately.
Yes.
And yellow's your color.
Yellow's our color. Well, actually, we did the logo first. Got business cards, flyers, and then once you got the look, then we started making the website match the look.
We did your logo?
Yeah, you did the logo.
I don't remember that. Okay, so we did.
Yeah, I had
an
older, like shieldish.
Okay.
Yeah, thing.
So we did the logo, and then we did an auto wrap for all the vehicles.
Yep, auto wrap, and then all of our sales sheets, our flyers. We got rid of the Word document sheets that I had.
So everything is branded, and it's designed to appeal to your ideal and likely buyers. So if you're listening right now, and you say, I went to oxyfresh.com and I don't like it. The question is, does your ideal and likely buyer like it? You see? So for oxyfresh.com, I want people to fathom this, okay? A man by the name of Jonathan Barnett had a vision to start the world's greenest carpet cleaner. And he had done it. He had created the world's greenest carpet cleaning process. It uses 10 times less water than almost every carpet cleaner in America. However, we needed more ideal and likely buyers because most businesses that fail, by the way, have a great idea or a great product. They just don't sell anything. And if you can't sell, your business goes to hell. So we worked with Jonathan Barnett with oxyfresh.com. We've worked with Ryan with tiptopcanine.com. We've worked with shawhomes.com. And all I'm trying to do is make sure that the branding matches the expectations of your ideal and likely buyer. So the question is, when you look at these websites, oxyfresh.com, tiptopcanine.com, shawhomes.com, or whatever your business is, I want you to ask yourself this question if you're listening right now. Does your website meet the expectations of your ideal and likely buyer? Does your website, does your branding, does your marketing, does your logo, do your print pieces, do they appeal to your ideal and likely buyer? And right here on my desk right now, I have a business card that was given to me by a guy by the name of Vito Servadio. It's like Servadio. Vito. He gave this to me at a birthday party I was at this week, and he happens to but the business card he gave me was phenomenal. It's like a sharp business card. His company's called Only the Best. It's a firearms company, but this card is hot, And he gave it to me, and right away I go, that is a great looking business card, and it's because it's a metal card. You want to keep it. You want to stick around. Another example would be, think about the packaging of an iPad. Everybody who buys an iPad, they want to keep the packaging of the iPad, and they don't know why. What are we going to use the packaging to re-gift next year? What are we doing? But people always want to keep the Apple packaging because the branding is so good.
Fire Nation, think about that. Think about the power of branding. And I love all the examples that you gave, Clay. And as I'm hearing you talk, I'm going through Tip Top K9. And that, by the way, is the letter K, the number 9. And whose idea was it, Ryan? It might have been yours, to have the dog balancing on top of the fire hydrant.
Yeah, that's mine.
That is so classic. I mean, Fire Nation, it's worth it just going to Tip Top K9.
That's our place command. Is doggy time out. We teach him to go to a box, a chair, a stool, and we use the fire hydrant just to show off.
The letter K, the number 9. So Tip Top, the letter K, the number 9.com. Testimonials. And as always, Clay just crushes it with testimonials as well. And I'm looking at all these testimonials you have. I mean, it's literally countless, but I mean, it's like, wow, if there's this many testimonials, this must be the best canine trainer literally in the world. And people go to search engines every single day, Clay, because they want to find solutions to their problems. How do you teach your students to dominate search engine results?
Well, what we do, and by the way, if anybody's listening right now and you go to thrivetimeshow.com/EOFire, if you're listening right now, any of your listeners can attend one of our in-person 2-day workshops. And the way I do it, JLD, is I tell people you can pay $250 for a ticket or whatever you want to pay. So somebody could say, I think I'm going to pay $5. I'm going to try it. That's fine. I don't care. Okay. It's the law of reciprocity. So far, everybody who's ever attended our workshops loves it. They go and tell their friends and family. But at the workshops, I do a full multiple-hour presentation on how to do this, but I'm going to sum it up into 4 quick points. There's 4 variables that impact your rank on the search engines, okay? Variable number 1, you have to have a website that is canonically compatible with Google's compliance standards. It has to be canonically compliant, or you would call it Google compliant. Does it adhere to the Google standards? Does it follow their canon of rules? Is it canonically compliant? The second, is it mobile compliant? What? By whose standard? By Google standard. Is your website mobile compliant? The third is whoever has the most original HTML content, whoever has the most original relevant HTML content, that's hypertext markup language content, gets to be top for that subject. And 4, it's whoever has the most objective reviews. So I can help a business owner very quickly as part of our consulting program. What I do is I charge people $1,700 a month to grow their business. It's month to month. And with that package, I do include photography, videography, web development, search engine, all those things. But where I make my money, JLD, being very transparent with the listeners, I make a 20% margin with every client I work with. So I make $340 a month per client on average. It's month to month. So I'm not getting rich off that. It's $54,400 a month of profit I generate off the 160 clients. But where I make most of my money is I get a small percentage of the growth. That's where I camp out. That's where I make most of my money, is a small percentage of the growth. That's where I love to be. And so when I work with a client, I tell the client right away, hey, listen, we need to make your website canonically compliant. And I have web developers that work here full time, and they work with the client, and we knock it out right away. Boom. Then I tell them we need to make it mobile compliant. Boom. But the third area that I cannot do, and that's why I want to brag on Ryan with Tip Top Canine. I want to brag on OxyFresh. I want to brag on shawhomes.com. I cannot gather objective Google reviews from clients that are not happy. I can't do it. Furthermore, I just can't do it. I cannot write original HTML content for a client unless they either do it themselves or they encourage my staff to do it for them. So I'd say 95% of my clients, JLD, they prefer not to write massive amounts of keyword-rich hypertext markup language content, so they have us write it for them. And then, the Google reviews, that's something that Ryan and his team get. They get video reviews and Google reviews. Ryan, can you kind of explain the process that you use to go about getting those reviews and why you've chosen to have my team write the content for you?
Yeah, as far as choosing you guys to use the content is we start out writing our own content, and that's not fun.
Soul sucking.
Yeah. So we had a lot of other stuff to do, so that's definitely not worth it in my opinion. But
getting the reviews. What about getting the reviews?
The reviews. First off, we got to wow the client. I got to really bring it when we train their dog, either when we boot camp it and take it and train it or do the lessons.
Yeah.
And then we just ask them. We ask them for a review, and my people, they all get bonuses if they get reviews. They get pretty hefty bonuses.
So you provide a wow, and then you ask for the review.
Yeah, we provide a wow and ask for the review.
Now, I'll say this here, JLD, real quick. I want everyone to look this up. Type in carpet cleaning quotes into Google, folks. Type it in right now, carpet cleaning quotes. Did you know that oxyfresh.com, one of my longtime clients, they're the highest and most reviewed business in America of any type.
Wow, 236,973 reviews.
And someone says, that's hyperbole. Look it up, folks. I'm telling you, I give you facts. That's a big part of the Chet Holmes Ultimate Sales Machine experience, by the way. Big shout out to the Chet Holmes legacy, to his daughter, to anybody connected with that organization. They are the best. But I'm telling you, you got to get those reviews. It's called puffery if you're making stuff up. You want to cite your sources, okay? That's why I give people examples, ample examples that the humans can handle. Also, it's very important to understand this. When you go to thrivetimeshow.com, do you know in 2006, that was the first year that a client called me and said, could you help me grow my business? And at that point, JLD, I had built America's largest wedding DJ entertainment company. I had built a massive photography company. I'd built a commercial real estate business. I'd been building my own companies. I never wanted to be a marketing consultant, business growth guy. And I remember I had a dentist and an insurance agent. They said, could you help me grow my business? And this, as God is my witness, this dentist tripled the size of his dental practice. And I said, hey, Dr. Lindsay, could you record on video about your growth? Because no one's going to believe it. And he goes, yeah, sure. So I put it up there, thrivetimeshow.com. Then I talked to the insurance agent. I said, hey, no one's going to believe you're Oklahoma's largest insurance agent where you used to struggle. Could you record a video? Boom. So if you look at those videos, as of right now, as of today, we now have over 2,000 client success stories where we have over tripled the size of someone's business. They're all documented. And JLT, that's why I believe that our program is so successful. One, because the current clients know, wow, other people can do it. I can do it too. And the other thing is that people have seen the validators and they know, wow, the proof is in the pudding. Success leaves trails. And it's all documented right there at thrivetimeshow.com.
Fire Nation, thrivetimeshow.com/EOFire. I mean, check it out. He has so much stuff going on there. Ryan and Clay, I mean, I want to end with a bang here. Let's take our time because, I mean, there's just been so many value bombs. I just don't want any to sneak through the cracks here. But let's start with you, Ryan. What is the one major takeaway that you really want Fire Nation to get from everything that we've talked about, from all the value bombs we've dropped? What do you want to make sure our listeners really understand?
Yeah, I would say I want them to really understand that it doesn't matter how good you are at your craft if you don't have repeatable systems and they're not scripted out, you're not going to succeed in replacing yourself. So it doesn't matter how good you are. You just own a job. You don't necessarily own a business. We tripled our income, right, while growing to 17 locations and doing product support and doing a call center and billing support for the locations. So that was in 5 years. So we tripled my location while we're training 17 others. So I couldn't have done that without hard system.
Clay, bring us home. What is it you really want to make sure Fire Nation gets in this conversation? Give us that strong call to action so we can have more success stories from you, Fire Nation. Our listeners, take action.
Well, you got 3 ways that you can get rich that you people always say, can I get rich quick? I could definitely guarantee that somebody can become wealthy if they follow these proven systems. I can do that. And by the way, if you start working at the age of 20, and you want to become a millionaire by the age of 40, you need to save about $175 a day. I know that because I've done the math. Okay. So you need to save $175 a day and then don't die. That would be your stop, drop, and roll, look both ways while crossing traffic, that kind of thing. Okay. But you save $175 a day. But if you want to get wealthier faster, what you want to do is you want to look at the three situations. One, you could go out there and open your own business. Okay. And that's the thing I specialize in teaching people at thrivetimeshow.com/EOFire. I can teach you how to grow a successful company. So if you have a company, you want to grow it, that's what I do. I'd love to help you. Boom. The first consultation's free. The workshops are interactive. You can learn more. But again, the first consultation is free at thrivetimeshow.com/EOFire. Two, you could buy an existing business model. You would call that franchising or licensing. I gave you two examples today, but there's other ones I didn't give you. I mean, you could become a State Farm agent. You could open a Tip Top Canine. You could open up a Domino's Pizza. You could open up an OxyFresh. The reason why I wanted to have Ryan on today's show is he's a client I've worked with for a long time. We've successfully helped him to franchise, and it's pretty awesome what he can do, and it's less than $50,000 to open up a location. And there are some franchises you can look into, like buying a McDonald's is over $2 million today. So, buying a franchise is a great option. You just want to make sure it's affordable for you. And the third thing you can do, and this is something I don't know that I can't do it. You have to be a genius. Now, somebody out there says, I am a genius. That's great. But I'm talking about like Steve Jobs invented, the modern computer systems that we have today. He's a genius. He revolutionized the music industry. He's a genius. Michael Jordan could play basketball in a way that Marvin Gaye could sing. I'm telling, if you're a genius, if you have that supernatural God-given talent where you can sing songs and play basketball and invent stuff, you don't need me, because if you're so great that the world can't ignore you, that right there is awesome. But for the average person like myself, I'll put myself in that category, where you're not the next LeBron James, you're not the next, Oprah, you're not the next Marvin Gaye, you probably need to go back to move one or two. So either you want to grow a proven, learn how to grow a business using proven systems, that we teach at thrivetimeshow.com/EOFire, or you want to buy a franchise or license an existing system, which you can learn more about at tiptopcanine.com. And again, there's other options too. I mean, State Farm is a great brand. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, shape, or form. Domino's is a great brand. I mean, there's so many. Jimmy John's is a great brand. What I like about Tip Top, though, is it's $50,000 or less, whereas a lot of the other opportunities that exist in franchising do cost people millions of dollars.
Fire Nation, you can see why Clay has made his 10th appearance on Fire Nation, because he brings the fire, he brings the heat, and he brings the results. Because you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You've been hanging out with Clay and Ryan and JLD today, so keep up the heat. If you head over to eofire.com, type Clay, you will see the show notes page with links to everything, as well as the other 9 shows that he did, and I promise you, they were all amazing. thrivetimeshow.com/EOFire. thrivetimeshow.com/EOFire. If you want to start taking steps in the right direction with your life and business, Fire Nation, get on a free consultation call with Clay. Take advantage of this, because I can guarantee you he may not be able to do this forever, because he only has so much time, energy, and effort he can put into this. But Clay, Ryan, I want to say thank you for sharing your truth, knowledge, value with Fire Nation today. For that, we salute you, and we'll catch you both on the flip side.
Boom.
Thanks, man.
Well, you may be considering becoming a client, and I thought, well, one of the best ways to make that decision is to hear from somebody that we've actually worked with for a long, long time, and he's become a good friend, and I'm excited for you to hear his story. Derek Sisney, welcome onto the Thrive Time Show. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing great, sir. Thank you for having me.
Hey, so I want to start at the end, and then we'll kind of work towards the beginning here. So in terms of like, how did the business coaching experience impact you personally? Because when I first met you, you were working in corporate America, and then you went to start your own business as a consultant. How did the business coaching change your life or impact your life?
Oh man, it was. I would say the biggest thing that really impacted me was the fact that I had no direction. When you're doing stuff like this, trying to create a business, or trying to grow a business, trying to scale a business, or doing anything like that, you're just kind of going through the flow. It's all emotional, it seems like, and you're just kind of guessing, and you're hoping that you hit on the points. The biggest thing that I took away, the thing that I learned the most, is being organized. Waking up early, right? 4:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, getting up early, getting organized, getting your day set, and being diligent. Oh gosh, that was diligent doer. Proverbs 10:4. right?
Now, so
That's
how
it.
would you describe? I mean, if you had to, has it been a positive change for your life? Has it been terrible? I mean, if you were talking to somebody, they said, "How did business coaching impact you?" How would you describe that?
So I actually told this to my wife, is that, so my last name is Sisning, and it's you and the team have changed generations of Sisneys. So it wasn't just me. It started with me, but not just that, Clay. It impacted in my church. It impacted in the youth group. It impacted at the university level. Across the board, it has impacted every fiber of who I am, everything about me, things that I didn't know was capable, that was even inside of me to be able to do it in the first place, has been impacted. And then my children, I have a daughter who's 11 and a daughter who's 5. I'm teaching them about business. I'm teaching them the diligence, the waking up early, the planning, all those things. So it's been life-changing for generations of us.
Now, I have been self-employed since I was 15. And so you have, you hop into my world, when people hop into my world, I guess I don't even recognize that there's a world out there that exists that doesn't wake up early and that doesn't achieve their goals and that doesn't know what they want to do with their life. I'm just, that's how I am. And so if you remember, you first heard about me, I think, through a radio show. Can you tell people how you first heard about me and what your first experience was working with me or hearing about me?
Yeah. So I did. I heard about you through the radio show, and I didn't think anything of it. And I was like, okay, who's this guy? Because you hear a lot of get rich quick schemes, all these things. So you just you put you in that category in the beginning. And then I was actually applying for jobs, and I was like, well, I heard about this guy. So I went, and I came, and I'll never forget the day that I walked in, and I look around, and I'm like, oh man, what did I just walk into? And the music was blaring. I mean, there's all these lights, all this. It looked like, I remember thinking, I'll bet this is how Facebook is. If I was to walk in Facebook, this is probably how it is. And then Daisy showed me around, and she introduced me to you. And I remember you saying these words. You said, "Are you married?" I said, "Yes, sir, I am." And you said, I think that you'll be a hard worker. Just from talking to me those few minutes, and you said you got the job, and I turned you down. So that was early on. And then I came back 4 years later
for a job. That's how you started out, right?
That's exactly right. That is exactly right. And then 4 years later, I came back.
And you came back 4 years later as a business growth consultant, and you're looking to add some clients and increase your revenue. I'm not asking you on this show to share how much money you ended up making per month, but how much is a percentage, or how many times did we help you increase your income by?
Oh God, honestly, it was priceless. Like it was the percentages. I remember talking to someone, I think it was you, you introduced me to some people as well. I mean, in reality, it was almost infinite. So, I mean, the most money I ever made at one time in a year was $50,000 before ever joining this. And let's just say it was double, triple that. So
So you tripled your income?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So wait, now just to be clear. So you're saying that you tripled your income. And you learn new life skills, and we've worked together every week. Every week we had a meeting every week. And the purpose of that meeting is to make sure that you know what to do, and that you, I call it IDS, or identify, discuss, solve. We identify what needs to be done. We discuss what needs to be, so you know what you're doing. And then we solve it. Like, here's the homework, Can you talk to the listeners out there about the importance of having those meetings every week, where a lot of times you might even be going over the same subject, but what's the importance of having that somebody harassing you on a weekly basis about following the systems?
It is so important because people think that they can do it themselves. And some people might have the ability, but to have somebody kind of kick you in the tail, I used to explain it to people is it's kind of like taking a basketball shot. I'm not the best basketball player by any stretch of the imagination, but having somebody who understands the game beside me and watching me take those shots and say, hey, if you just tweak that just a little bit, you could probably make that better, or you can make that shot more, or if you do more shots, right? If you take it from an NBA perspective, right? They'll shoot the same shot over and over and over again. They'll shoot that same shot from that same spot 1,000 times, but that's what makes them so great. And it's the same thing with business, doing the same thing over and over and over again. It sounds repetitive, and it sounds like it okay, it's insanity, right? But in reality, it's those small, diligent things that happen for us to grow a business or grow ourselves or anything like that.
Now, you've been able to shadow multiple times. You actually, were in the office quite a bit. How would you describe the impact that shadowing me made on you when you see that I'm actually working within a highly scheduled environment with an actual to-do list? How did that impact you?
It was amazing to be able to see it and actually see somebody do it. A lot of people, including books, they say do this, and then they may not do it themselves, or their leadership won't even do it themselves. That happens a lot. And so watching you and even the leadership and the people inside the building do exactly, and if I remember right, I think it's mandatory for everybody who works in your building. They have to have a clipboard and a schedule. Like they have to have the clipboard. So I mean, everybody doing that, and it's not a grade, but it's like, where's your clipboard? And they used to call it their brain. So we'd say, where's your brain at? So it was amazing to be actually see it implemented and worked on every single morning.
Self-help. You labeled me as self-help there for a minute, and I worry about that because I've met a lot of self-help authors. I've met a lot of, I won't mention their names on today's show, but people I've met in backstage, at the events. I'm a speaker, they're a speaker, and they're like, hey, how do you do you actually help your clients grow? And I go, well, yeah. I mean, all my clients, they pay $1,700 a month. It's month to month, and they grow. And they're like, yeah, but I mean, really, what's the catch? I go, what do you mean? What's the catch? And these self-help guys, they go, well, I have a program I ultimately signed them up for so they can become a certified coach underneath my program. And that's how they make their money. And they sign up people to long contracts. And that's kind of their game, is to, keep talking people into the next thing. You've been to our workshops, and I don't do that in our workshops. How would you describe the workshops themselves?
The workshops are eye-opening. And it's almost, you could go to a workshop and learn everything that you needed to learn. The problem that I see a lot of people have is they're like, okay, this is great knowledge, but they don't understand how to apply the knowledge. And that's where Clay Clark's wisdom comes in. No, you're not self-help, but you're like, I've already been there. I've done it. If we're looking at it from a biblical perspective, right? It's getting the knowledge, the understanding, and the wisdom to be able to apply it. Well, you can get all the knowledge and you could sort of understand how it works, but and those business shops, workshops actually help to be able to acquire those. But then that next step, if you want to take that next step, it is that implementation, and that's what your team is able to provide.
Now, kind of going line by line, marketing, we'll help you with your marketing, your website, your print pieces, all those items. How helpful was that during that time in your life to know that you had a team that could do the website, the photography, the videography, all of the marketing things in one point of contact, as opposed to having to run around and look for other designers?
It was amazing. It was amazing just to be able to come to you. You were my point of contact, or another coach was my point of contact, and that's my POC, if you're use it from a military term. But my point of contact was you. If I needed something, you were on it. Every week, those weekly 1-hour meetings was like, hey, I need this to get done. In fact, with you, a lot of the times you were able to do it right there on the spot. Like, well, let's get that fixed right now. So
now
it was amazing.
Now, the core repeatable actionable processes, I call it the crap, core repeatable actionable processes. What? Core repeatable actionable processes. A lot of entrepreneurs that aren't successful struggle to bore down, and they struggle with boredom. They go, it's the same thing every week. Oh, man. They want a new idea, a new shiny thing. A lot of men do that with their wives, looking for new girlfriends. That's not a move. A lot of people do that with new cars, always looking for a new car, always looking for a new book to buy. They buy the book. They don't read the book. They just buy books. A lot of people are always looking for a new car smell, a new thing. Can you talk about the importance of having that core, repeatable, actionable processes cemented and gone over every day, just the core repeatable actionable process, maybe the value of that?
You don't like it, so that's the reason the acronym is great. It's crap, right? It's like you're just kind of going through. It's like, I don't like to do this, but the amazing thing is, people, if you're listening to this, is be diligent in the crap. Just keep pushing through. I promise you, if you do what Clay's team tells you to do, it works. It will. It's just, it sounds insane. It sounds like it won't work. It sounds like a get rich quick scheme. It sounds like all these things. But doing the crap actually brings progression and growth.
I'll give you the final word there for anybody out there that's thinking about filling out the form, coming to a conference, scheduling a one-on-one consultation. We don't want to waste anybody's time out there who's not a good fit, nor do we want anybody who's not a good who is a good fit to be turned away. What's the final word you might say to anybody out there that's contemplating becoming one of our 160 clients by scheduling a one-on-one consultation or coming to an in-person workshop?
If you're sitting on the fence, if you're really thinking about it, I would tell you definitely 100% come to a workshop. The workshops are they're priceless. But if you need that kick in the tail and you're like, man, I say I'm going to do this, and you're that hopeful person that's just like, I want to do this, I want to make this happen. Clay's team can actually take you to that next level. And if you're just thinking about it, just do it. Just do it. Give it a shot. I believe that there's no contract. There's nothing. I mean, there's no reason for you not to give it a shot. I mean, that's the amazing thing about it. You have everything in-house right there for you, a marketing team, a coaching team, individuals that are there to help you, even Clay's network and stuff like that. And it's priceless. And if you're just thinking about it, go for it. Just do it.
Now, you and your wife are attending some kind of ministry conference this weekend, which is the whole purpose of growing a business, is to create time freedom and financial freedom. So I don't want to get you in the proverbial doghouse there. So my final question I have for you before I let you go is talk about the time freedom and the financial freedom of just knowing that you have the ability financially to be able to take your wife to a workshop like the one you're going to, and you don't have to worry about the money.
It's amazing. It's amazing. To be able to not have to worry about that and actually be able to go to sleep at night. In the beginning, Clay, you may know this, and I know the listeners won't. I didn't have a job. I didn't have anything. I had $0 coming in, and this was right before COVID. So you can imagine, really, it was a leap of faith for me. I joined that program, and I've known you for years, but I joined that program before COVID. And then I don't know if you remember my text messages. I was texting you. I was like, Clay, I'm really freaking out here with all the COVID stuff. And you're like, just take it easy. And then you guys kind of, you coached me along that. And I am so appreciative of that. Just so appreciative of that. But
I think you got a kind of a friendship with Eric Trump out of the deal too. Eric actually reached out and made sure that you were invited to Laura's birthday. That's a real thing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
I mean,
that's
kind of
wild.
fun.
I would have never guessed that.
I would have never guessed. I mean, seriously, he calls me and goes, hey, is your guy Derek coming? I said, Derek? He goes, my guy, Derek. I love Derek. Is Derek coming to Laura's party? We got to get Derek at the party. So that was kind of fun too. So Derek, Sisti, I really appreciate you. Appreciate all you've done in terms of putting forth the effort. If we're out there teaching people what to do and they don't implement the proven success systems, it doesn't work. You're a diligent doer, and I wish you the best on all the endeavors you're doing right now. And we'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Take care.
Hey, Clay Clark and my Thrive peeps. It's Steve Currington, as you can tell. Although I'm not wearing my signature green shirt as usual, but I am riding in my signature green Lamborghini. And I just wanted to say how appreciative I am of Thrive and all the guys at Thrive Time and the show and everything that you guys have done. At Total Ending Concepts, we have had tremendous growth and a lot of things changing, especially on the marketing front. And from a coaching perspective and from a web presence and branding, and our internet leads are up. Everything is hammering on all cylinders, and really we're just trying to figure out how we can leverage the systems and the processes that we're learning at Thrive more in our business. So now we're setting up a lead tracking system that has been long overdue, and we're doing lots of stuff. But I wanted to take a minute and say thank you to Thrive and Clay Clark and Dr. Z and everybody for all the help in helping us grow our business and hopefully buy more Lamborghinis like this the more we sell. So appreciate it, guys. See ya.
Hello, my name is Charles Kolaw with Kolaw Fitness. Today I want to tell you a little bit about Clay Clark and how I know Clay Clark. Clay Clark has been my business coach since 2017. He's helped us grow from 2 locations to now 6 locations. We're planning to do 7 locations in 7 years and then franchise. And Clay has done a great job of helping us navigate anything that has to do with like running the business, building the systems, the checklists, the workflows, the audits, how to navigate lease agreements, how to buy property, how to work with brokers and builders. This guy is just amazing. He's this kind of guy has worked in every single industry. He's written books with like Lee Cockrell, head of Disney, with the 40,000 cast members. He's friends with like Mike Lindell. He does Reawaken America tours, where he does these tours all across the country, where 10,000 or more people show up to some of these tours. On the day-to-day, he does anywhere from about 160 companies. He's at the top. He has a team of business coaches, videographers, and graphic designers and web developers, and they run 160 companies every single week. So think of this guy with a team of business coaches running 160 companies. So in the weekly, he's running 160 companies. Every 6 to 8 weeks, he's doing Reawaken America tours. Every 6 to 8 weeks, he's also doing business conferences where 200 people show up, and he teaches people a 13-step proven system that he's done and worked with billionaires, helping them grow their companies. So I've seen guys from startups go from startup to being multimillionaires, teaching people how to get time freedom and financial freedom through the system. Critical thinking, document creation, putting it into organizing everything in their head to building into a franchisable, scalable business. Like one of his businesses has like 500 franchises. That's just one of the companies or brands that he works with. So amazing guy. Elon Musk, kind of like smart guy. He kind of comes off sometimes as socially awkward, but he's so brilliant, and he's taught me so much. When I say that, like Clay is like, he doesn't care what people think when you're talking to him. He cares about where you're going in your life and where he can get you to go. And that's what I like most about him. He's like a good coach. A coach isn't just making you feel good all the time. A coach is actually helping you get to the best you. And Clay has been an amazing business coach. Through the course of that, we became friends. I was really most impressed with him is when I was shadowing him one time. We went into a business deal and listened to it. I got to shadow and listen to it. And when we walked out, I knew that he could make millions on the deal. And they were super excited about working with him. And he told me, he's like, I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to turn it down, because he knew it was going to harm the common good of people in the long run. And the guy's integrity just really wowed me. It brought tears to my eyes to see that this guy, his highest desire was to do what's right. And anyways, just an amazing man. So anyways, impacted me a lot. He's helped navigate anytime I've got nervous or worried about how to run the company, or navigating competition and an economy that's like, I remember we got closed down for 3 months. He helped us navigate on how to stay open, how to get back open, how to just survive through all the COVID shutdowns, lockdowns, because our clubs were all closed for 3 months, and you have $350,000 of bills you got to pay, and we have no accounts receivable. He helped us navigate that, and of course we were conservative enough that we could afford to take that on for a period of time. But it was anyways, great man. I'm very impressed with him. So Clay, thank you for everything you're doing, and I encourage you, if you haven't ever worked with Clay, work with Clay. He's going to help magnify you, and there's nobody I have ever met that has the ability to work as hard as he does. He probably sleeps 4, maybe 6 hours a day, and literally the rest of the time he's working, and he can outwork everybody in the room every single day, and he loves it. So anyways, this is Charles Kola with Kola Fitness. Thank you, Clay, and anybody out there that's wanting to work with Clay, it's a great opportunity to ever work with him. So you guys have a blessed one. This is Charles Kola. We'll see you guys. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Aaron Antis with Shaw Homes. I first heard about Clay through a mortgage lender here in town who had told me what a great job he had been doing for them, and I actually noticed he was driving a Lamborghini all of a sudden, so I was willing to listen. In my career, I've sold a little over $800 million in real estate. So honestly, I thought I kind of knew everything about marketing and homes. And then I met Clay, and my perception of what I knew and what I could do definitely changed. After doing $800 million in sales over a 15-year career, I really thought I knew what I was doing. I've been managing a large team of salespeople for the last 10 years here with Shaw Homes. And I mean, we've been a company that's been in business for 35 years. We've become one of the largest builders in the Tulsa area, and that was without Clay. So when I came to know Clay, I really thought, man, there's not much more I need to know, but I'm willing to listen. The interesting thing is our internet leads from our website has actually, in a 4-month period of time, has gone from somewhere around 10 to 15 leads in a month to 180 internet leads in a month. Just from the few things that he's shown us how to implement that I honestly probably never would have come up with on my own. So I got a lot of good things to say about the system that Clay put in place with us, and it's just been an incredible experience. I am very glad that we met and had the opportunity to work with Clay. So the interaction with the team and with Clay on a weekly basis is honestly very enlightening. One of the things that I love about Clay's perspective on things is that he doesn't come from my industry. He's not somebody who's in the home building industry. I've listened to all the experts in my field. Our company has paid for me to go to seminars, international builder shows, all kinds of places where I've had the opportunity to learn from the experts in my industry. But the thing that I found working with Clay is that he comes from such a broad spectrum of working with so many different types of businesses that he has a perspective that's difficult for me to gain because I get so entrenched in what I do, I'm not paying attention to what other leading industry experts are doing. And Clay really brings that perspective for me. It is very valuable time every week when I get that hour with him. From my perspective, the reason that any business owner who's thinking about hooking up with Thrive needs to definitely consider it is because the results that we've gotten in a very short period of time are honestly monumental. It has really exceeded my wildest expectation of what he might be able to do. I came in skeptical because I'm very pragmatic, and as I've gone through the process over just a few months, I've realized it's probably one of the best moves we've ever made. I think a lot of people probably feel like they don't need a business or marketing consultant because they maybe are a little bit prideful and like to think they know everything. I know that's how I felt coming in. I mean, we're a big company that's definitely one of the largest in town. And so we kind of felt like we knew what we were doing. And I think for a lot of people, they let their ego get in the way of listening to somebody that might have a better or different perspective than theirs. I would just really encourage you, if you're thinking about working with Clay, I mean, the thing is, it's month to month. Go give it a try and see what happens. I think in the 35-year history of Shaw Homes, this is probably the best thing that's happened to us, and I know if you give them a shot, I think you'll feel the same way. I know for me, the thing I would have missed out on if I didn't work with Clay is I would have missed out on literally an 1,800% increase in our internet leads. Going from 10 a month to 180 a month, that would have been a huge financial decision to just decide not to give it a shot. I would absolutely recommend Clay Clark to anybody who's thinking about working with somebody in marketing. I would skip over anybody else you were thinking about, and I would go straight to Clay and his team. I guarantee you're not going to regret it because we sure haven't.
My name is Danielle Sprick, and I am the founder of D Sprick Realty Group here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. After being a stay-at-home mom for 12 years and my 3 kids started school and they were in school full-time, I was at a crossroads and trying to decide what do I want to do? My degree and my background is in education, but after being a mom and staying home and all of that, I just didn't have a passion for it like I once did. My husband suggested real estate. He's a home builder, so real estate and home building go hand in hand, and we just rolled with it. I love people, I love working with people, I love the building relationships, but one thing that was really difficult for me was the business side of things. The processes and the advertising and marketing. I knew that I did not have what I needed to make that what it should be. So I reached out to Clay at that time, and he and his team have been extremely instrumental in helping us build our brand, help market our business, our agents, the homes that we represent, everything that we do is a direct line from Clay and his team and all that they've done for us. We launched our brokerage, our real estate brokerage, 8 months ago. And in that time, we've gone from myself and one other agent to just this week, we signed on our 16th agent. We have been blessed with the fact that we right now have just over 10 million in pending transactions. 3 years ago, I never would have even imagined that I would be in this role that I'm in today, building a business, having 16 agents. But I have to give credit where credit's due. And Clay and his team and the business coaching that they've offered us has been huge. It's been instrumental in what we're doing. Don't ever limit your vision. When you dream big, big things happen.
I started a business because I couldn't work for anyone else. I do things my way. I do what I think is in the best interest of the patient. I don't answer to insurance companies. I don't answer to large corporate organizations. I answer to my patient, and that's it. My thought when I opened my clinic was I can do this all myself. I don't need additional outside help in many ways. I went to medical school. I can figure this out. But it was a very, very steep learning curve. Within the first 6 months of opening my clinic, I had a $63,000 embezzlement. I lost multiple employees. Clay helped us weather the storm of some of the things that are just a lot of people experience, especially in the medical world. He was instrumental in helping with the specific written business plan. He's been instrumental in hiring good quality employees, using the processes that he outlines for getting in good talent, which is extremely difficult. He helped me in securing the business loans. He helped me with web development and search engine optimization. We've been able to really keep a steady stream of clients coming in because they found us on the web. With everything that I encountered, everything that I experienced, I quickly learned it is worth every penny to have someone in your team that can walk you through and even avoid some of the pitfalls that are almost invariable in starting your own business. I'm Dr. Chad Edwards, and I own Revolution Health and Wellness Clinic.
The Thrive Time Show 2-day interactive business workshops are the highest and most reviewed business workshops on the planet.
You can learn the proven 13-point business systems that Dr. Zellner and I have used over and over to start and grow successful companies. I mean, we get into the specific steps on what you need to do to optimize your website. We're going to teach you how to fix your conversion rate. We're going to teach you how to do a social media marketing campaign that works. How do you raise capital? How do you get a small business loan? We teach you everything you need to know here during a 2-day, 15-hour workshop. It's all here for you. You work every day in your business, but for 2 days you can escape and work on your business and build these proven systems so now you can have a successful company that will produce both the time freedom and the financial freedom that you deserve. You're going to leave energized, motivated, but you're also going to leave empowered. The reason why I've built these workshops is because as an entrepreneur, I always wish that I had this. And because there wasn't anything like this, I would go to these motivational seminars, no money down, real estate, Ponzi scheme, get motivated seminars, and they would never teach me anything. It was like you went there and you paid for the big chocolate Easter bunny, but inside of it was a hollow nothingness. And I wanted the knowledge, and they're like, oh, but we'll teach you the knowledge after our next workshop. And the great thing is we have nothing to upsell. At every workshop, we teach you what you need to know. There's no one in the back of the room trying to sell you some next big get-rich-quick, walk-on-hot coals product. It's literally, we teach you the brass tacks, the specific stuff that you need to know to learn how to start and grow a business. And I encourage you to not believe what I'm saying, and I want you to Google the Z66 auto auction. I want you to Google elephant in the room. Look at Robert Zellner and Associates. Look them up and say, are they successful because they're geniuses, or are they successful because they have a proven system? When you do that research, you will discover that the same systems that we use in our own business can be used in your business. Come to Tulsa, book a ticket, and I guarantee you it's going to be the best business workshop ever, and we'll even give you your money back if you don't love it. We've built this facility for you, and we're excited to see you.